What's going on, guys? Sebastian from Team Classified here. Welcome to the channel. A little bit of rundown of what we're going to be doing here on the channel, what our content's going to be based around. Cars, dirt bikes, four-wheelers, anything with an engine. I will say primarily for a while it's going to be Volkswagen related, so if you like Volkswagens, then stay tuned. I have a Mark V GTI. I'll show you guys that here in a second. Not going to go into detail about it just because it's not what today's video is about. I also have a B7 Passat. Again, I'll show you guys, but that's not what the video is about, so I'm not going to go into detail about it. That will be a video for a later date. The content will be based around cars, anything with an engine. So if that's what you're into, I mean, hey. Now, I'll try to keep this intro short and sweet. I know you guys probably want to get to the point. If you've seen by the title of the video, we will be rebuilding a pit bike today. That pit bike is Chinese. It's not a Honda or whatever. It's basically a Teo, a Coolster, and a bunch of other freaking brands that you may never have heard of. The one that I have is a Coolster QG213A. It's a 110cc pit bike, fully automatic. I know, I wish I could shift. It doesn't. I'll get one that does later. Those of you that may know me, I did move from Alaska. I was born and raised in Alaska. That was my home state. I moved down to Florence, Arizona. We will be moving a little farther up in the future towards the Chandler area. Those of you that live in Arizona all your life or know the area very well, you know where Florence is at, you know where Chandler's at, kind of a long ways away. But we are out here. Currently, as of right now, the videos will be made by me and me only, with no special guests for a while. I do have some people that are planning to move down here. However, if they do come down here, you'll see a lot more content, especially with Volkswagens, Mark IV, Mark VII. Again, I have the Mark V, and I'll go ahead and show you guys that real quick. Let me get over here. So here's my Mark V. Careful with the concrete. The Mark V here. It is not a special trim or anything. It's just a Mark V. It does have its blemishes, but there has been a decent amount of stuff done to it. It's lowered. I got some Volkswagen classics on it. Those weren't cheap. The paint, it needs some work on the paint. The taillights, I don't really like the taillights. The B7 Passat that I spoke of, we actually bought this here in Alaska, or bought it up there in Alaska. I did lower it on some Rev 9 coilovers, budget coilovers, but they're fully adjustable with 32 click dampening. So it doesn't look too bad. There are some things that I want to do to it, but as of right now, we're keeping it pretty basic. Now, like I said, I could go into more depth about those vehicles and what's been done to them. The Passat, pretty stock, really just been lowered and a muffler delete. The GTI, I could probably make a whole video on, which if you guys want that, leave a comment down below. But anyways, like I said, we'll get into that later. Today's video is about the Coolster. So when I got the bike, like I said, it was running and riding, sightseeing, which means I did see it. I did go check it out. I did start, did run, it did move under its own power. It ran great. However, when I brought it home, it kind of started to have some problems, and I started looking into those problems, and those problems gradually snowballed into something bigger, which ended up being a full engine rebuild. So because the plastics here were painted over, basically the story behind this thing is a mom bought it for her son brand new in 2018. They rode it for a little bit, and then apparently her other son hopped on it and he looped it and got scared of it, so they sold it. Apparently he didn't like the red and the white, so they painted it white and black. Very weird. Plastics are super cheap. I did buy a set here for like 25, 26 bucks. Not a big deal, but it's essentially been babied except for the looping. I don't know how you loop this bike. It has like no power, but maybe for a little kid you could. So we did get new plastics there. And this is the engine. This right here is the 110cc. Really gutless. I mean, to a point, it's fun to rip around on. But as you can see, it doesn't have a shifter on it. It is a full automatic. Typically, if it did have a shifter, it'd be right there. But it does not. So it's fully automatic. We're just starting to tear down the engine now. I do have everything I need here to complete the build today. I'm going to try and get it done today. So we'll see what happens here. Might be a part 2 to this video. I got a new piston kit here. I got a new spark plug, full gasket kit, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rebuild the top end today. Basically, we're just taking off the cylinder head, and the cylinder, and we're going to clean up the cylinder walls with my tool there, and then rebuild the cylinder head, put new valves in it, springs, everything of that sort, put new piston in here, leave the bottom end alone. I probably will be taking the cover off here just to replace the gaskets and any gaskets I may come across. I would replace everything inside of the engine, but a new engine's 350 bucks, so I'm kind of just keeping it bare bones for now. Getting it running and ripping again. I do have a plan to go riding this Friday, but we'll see what happens here. Unfortunately, I do not have a tripod to time lapse this process, but I will check in with you guys here whenever I get the engine torn out a little bit more. I will show you what the cylinder looks like. I'll show you the cylinder head. I'll keep you guys updated. We're back. We got everything pulled off. Didn't take too long. Literally took about 15 minutes. Everything's looking pretty all right here. The piston does have a little bit of buildup on it, but I'm really not too worried about that. I mean, Chains usually don't go bad, but it's not looking too bad. And the timing chain guide itself looks pretty good. There's no excessive wear on it, so that's good. And the cam sprocket looks pretty good as well. Like I said, the piston looks pretty good. Now, I'm not sure if the compression ring failed or whatnot. Basically, the story is we had a lot of crank, no start. We had fuel in it. We were definitely getting air and spark. I checked the spark plug. Spark plug didn't look too bad, so it was getting spark at the time. So that's why I went ahead and went to go rebuild this. The cylinder wall doesn't look too bad. It actually looks pretty good, not gonna lie. Looks pretty good. So that's pretty cool. And as far as the cylinder head goes, the valve seating looks good. If a valve was bent, most likely we would be able to see it right now. You'd see that it wasn't seating properly or a valve stuck open. That's currently not the case. We'll get that piston taken out afterwards. We'll get it installed here with the new piston, the new, I guess you could say the neck. I don't know, that's what I call it sometimes. Usually whatever pops into my head. And the clips, we'll get that installed too. And once that's all set, then we'll move on to the cylinder head, which that's gonna take me a little bit of time. There's only 2 valves in here, so it actually shouldn't take too long, but I think it's gonna take me a good hour. So I wanna go through it carefully and make sure. Then once everything's put back together, then we have to lash the valves to make sure they're in proper spec, so that way we have the proper amount of compression. Then it's just up to making sure that the bottom end is top to the center, the top end is top to the center, perfect timing, and kind of just going from there. This video isn't really gonna be a long one. It's basically just gonna be getting the engine done, showing you clips of it, and then we're actually going to move on to the plastics afterwards because we need to get the black plastics on there. Then we have to put the engine back in. I'll stop procrastinating here and I'll get to working on the engine. All right, guys, so we did make some pretty good progress on the engine. I will show you here. This is everything we have set aside. We're at a stopping point for today. I have some things I have to take care of. Update on where we're at. We got the cylinder head back on. We got the cylinder back on with the new piston in there, the new rings. We got the timing chain guide back in. Everything's lubed up, nice, ready to go. Torqued down. I did use thread locker. There's only one bolt holding the cylinder on here. Kind of weird, but it's slow compression engine, so we're at a stopping point. We got all the gaskets on that we need. This is the old gasket. I put it back on there just to remember, because sometimes I do tend to forget things. When we come back to it, the last big piece that we have to do to the engine rebuild is take apart the cylinder head. Now, I did piece it back together. You guys saw previously all the parts were laying right there. So I did just piece it together so I didn't lose anything. But essentially what we'll do is we'll take the valves out, put all the new components in there, make sure it's in spec, and then time the bottom end. And then once we put the head back on, we'll time the top end, get everything top dead center, and then put it all back together, put the new plastics on the bike, and then put the engine back in and hopefully get a second startup, or if you want to be technical, 10th startup, but first startup on the rebuild. For those of you wanting to rebuild the top end on your Teo, Coolster, whatever the bike is or four-wheeler is, it's actually extremely easy. Now, I didn't give you guys a walkthrough, but I can kind of point it out here at the end if I remember. It's very possible, and with a small engine like this, small engines are super easy. So with that being said, I'm going to cut to an update for that. In the meantime, I got to do some things, so I'll be back. All right, well, it's Friday. I know I said I was gonna maybe do it that night, but I did not. With that being said, we're doing it in the room today because I feel like it. Hot Wheels, check it out. I know you probably have a bigger collection than me, but I'm very picky with the shit that I buy. So here's the valve. It doesn't look bent. I'm gonna keep looking at it, but it doesn't look bent. I believe this is the intake one. Nope, that's the exhaust. So here it is. I have all the pieces right here, got everything out. I got the whole rebuild kit right there. So far, so wait, I think that, am I tripping? That might be bent. That might be bent. I know it's supposed to have like a lean to it, but anyways, so I got the first valve out. I'm gonna be working on the second one here, getting that out. Sorry for the bad camera quality, but once I got that out, I'll clean the head and then put everything back in. And then I will set the clearance and then put it back together. I'll get this other valve out, then we'll take a look at the head further in the depth there, clean it up, and then put it back together. All right, guys, so we have moved outside. I'm gonna go ahead and start cleaning this up. I'll show you guys what the head looks like. I did get a little bit of hair on it, but that wasn't there originally. Not looking too bad. It looks like it's a little bit of cam wear. I'm sorry, camshaft wear. I'm gonna be honest with myself and with you guys. Just looks like not enough oil was getting to the top end. I noticed some stuff. By some stuff, I mean the cam looks like it was revving pretty good. Doesn't look like enough oil was going up top. Doesn't look like it got enough lubrication. You guys can kind of see it there. If I can get my finger to point to it, kind of like right about here and right there in the center. Same on the other side there, especially on this side right here. But other than that, it's not looking too bad. I think we're gonna go ahead and try to run with it. And if I'm having some compression problems, I'll just buy a new head, but we're gonna go and try to run with it. New head's only like 50 bucks, 60 bucks. And then just clean this thing out. And then we'll start putting the new pieces back in. Hopefully gonna kind of get this thing put back together today, at least the engine, you know, at minimum. Guess we'll fast forward to that too. So, all right, we got it running. I did just the fucking carburetor. We're smoking a little bit, burning off some oil. I wiped that down and got a little oil on my rag for some reason. We're burning off the fucking assembly lube right now. Being careful with it. That smells like shit. That needs to go away though. Definitely have to turn on the idle. It's still cold. I can feel it. It's not warm. Gotta warm up. So, hell yeah, guys. Well, that concludes the video. If I can, I'll hop on it and fucking get a video of it riding. Not today. I have to fix the tubes. Sorry about that. But yeah, that's the Coolster build. So, maybe flip it, maybe keep it. We'll see. If you have any questions about how to rebuild the Coolster, you know, valve lashing, whatever it is, if you have any questions about your Coolster, Teo, other Chinese pit bikes, 125cc and 110cc, just leave the comment down below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Most of the time, I'll answer all the comments. I do have an Instagram. I'll link it down below as well. Might be better just to DM me through there, but thank you for watching the video, guys, and welcome to Team Classified. Hell yeah.